Okay, this video I'm making for anybody interested in mini splits, and I want to share with you the experience that I've had with Senville products so far. This is a Senville product that I put online in January, about January 4th or 5th, but then we went 5 months until June that this had hardly ever ran. So I really never got to know it. And I have one you've seen in other videos 10 feet away. This one's for my bedroom. The one over there that's 10 feet, 12 feet away is for the living room. If I didn't have the living room, I probably would have been satisfied with this one because it did run and it did cool the bedroom. But nothing like the one over there. The one over there works flawlessly. The living room area where that one is twice as big as my bedroom. It cools twice as fast with the living room. So I knew something was wrong with this, and every time you started this, because I didn't run it for the first 4 or 5 months I had it, when I did start running it, I had a horse race going between the living room one and this one always lost. It always took the longest to cool the bedroom. It made a noise, and it always had a code when it started up. It always started with a P4 code. Well, when we started getting into really hot temperatures, one day it got 117 out here about 3 weeks ago. 2 or 3 weeks ago we had a 117, 118 day in Buckeye. And what happened, I came out during the day, and this thing had been running all day with the one next door, next over there. And I came out, and the fan on this was wobbling so bad it was like a tire out of balance. The whole back, this back grate on the back, and the whole thing was shaking because this fan was wobbling so bad out of balance. And I said, holy shit. And I had to paint this. If you notice, I had to paint this for my HOA. I left the Senville, but painted everything out, and I thought, well, maybe I screwed up the fan by painting it. And so I took the fan out. While I had the fan off, the thing cooled down. I left it off for the rest of the night, started it up the next morning, and she's spinning fine. So we had another hot day where it was up around 115, 116 one day. Came out, same thing. The fan's spinning out of balance, and I'm getting all these codes. Every time I start the unit, I get a code, a P4 code, and it's not performing. It's losing the horse race with the one in the living room. The one in the living room is silent, quiet. It's power steering, power brakes, cruise control. It's working flawlessly. And it cools. You can feel it. You can stand 10 feet away from it and feel the cool air coming out of it. You don't with the inside unit of this. So what I did the other day, and I've been communicating with Phil and Mike, and I've talked to Jim, and I talked to Jamal, all of you. This arrived yesterday on time. It beat the deadline by about 6 hours. All right? You had until like 8 o'clock to deliver it at 9 o'clock last night. It was delivered about 3 in the afternoon. Thank you very much. Okay, this motherboard was packed well, and I want to show you what it came with. And I'm tickled the way it came. I'm going to start disassembling this. I've already got the lid temporarily on, and the motherboard that sits in there is temporarily on. Okay, so the motherboard, but I'm so tickled with all these disconnect plugs right here. I had so much anxiety. I thought I was going to just get the raw board. I didn't know I was going to get it in this housing. And because it came in this housing in a compact thing with all these plugs, I don't have to get in and individually remove these lugs off the board. I had huge anxiety and angst over getting just the raw board that I would have to dismount it from my black cover, and I'd have to remove each one of these little things by themselves. Drove me crazy thinking about it. Well, when it showed up and I took it out, everything is here. Now, on my last video, I had the cover off, and what you were looking at is the board like that, and we've got bayonet clips along here. All you do is pull them out. And what was happening is these two screw holes right here are, I'll show you. As I said before, you saw me struggling. I could flip this lid off here. I didn't have to do that. What it was is screws. Two screws that go through here and here hold that board. That's why I couldn't dislodge it. So I got these screws out. Everything is dislodged here. And I have this board where I can work with it. Okay? Now, I've got these big plugs that I have to disconnect on this board. Which I'm so glad. I thought I was going to have to take every one of these wires off this board individually, one at a time, and I don't now. Okay? And I'm going to take care of these back two wires first. Now that I've done my little spiel, okay, I want to show you. This all came, phone's ringing. Okay, sorry we got interrupted with a phone call, but as you see, this came all bundled with a package and with all quick disconnects. So I don't have to mess with the board. I don't have to mess with anything on the board. But I do have to tell you that this one down here at the bottom, they've got a red and black wire, two white wires and two black wires. And on the other board, this red and black wire are coming off another plug on the board. That's the only thing I can see different with the boards, but I know from my past working on airplanes, they have mods, they have upgrades. Certain production runs don't match things, so maybe that's the case here. And I'm hoping that new configuration fixes my problem with the P4, but this panel, I didn't know how it came apart, and I didn't know all those quick disconnects were there, so I took this apart like this and this, but hopefully this will go in much quicker. The connectors here, I have a blue one and a white one here that are going to transfer over. There's the white one right there, so I don't have to worry about that. So a lot of quick disconnects here. I love it. You guys, it's going to be a pleasure working with this because I don't have to dismount the motherboard like I said, and I don't have to take all these because those have a lot of tension on them. Them lugs that are connected to the board are really on there tight with a lot of tension. And I will remove this ground here off this board. That's the only one I'm going to mess with is the ground, because I don't want to mess with the ground on this end inside of the case. So I'll dismount this one. It'll be the only one I dismount off the board before I start. But I'm going to stop now. I've given you a little bit, and I'm going to try to set the camera up where you're looking at my hands, and I'll be talking, you'll be looking at my hands as I disconnect and reconnect these connectors and try to get this in, and hopefully within a short period of time I'll be able to put the breaker in here, set the breaker out the box, turn this on. I'll have the fan in, I got to put the grill back on. So it's going to be, I'm not going to hurry. This is going to be a labor of love. I'm going to take my time. I just hope that this thing runs with no codes, and it runs, if it runs like the living room one, I'll be tickled. Tickled. Okay, I'm going to turn it off now. I'll set up the camera where you're watching me disconnect it. Okay, I've got it back together. I'm about ready to put the lid back on. The lid don't have to be on though for it to run, and this don't have to be on for it to run. I've got everything hooked up electrically. It's all hooked up. So I don't need to put the lid on, and I don't need to secure that. It's all wired, it's all gonna work. Here's my remote right here. I'm about to hit on. Let's see what happened. It powered up. The louver's open. We got 62 degrees. I'm going to sit and watch this for a couple minutes. 62 is kind of low. I've got temperature control. But it's blowing some hot air. They're just blowing some real forceful air right now. Okay, I had it set real low. I'm going to set it to 80. Okay, there's 80, and she's blowing hard. She's blowing quiet. She's blowing hard. I can feel it. And so far, no codes. So far, no codes. No P4 codes. That's 80. The fan is modulating. The louver's modulating. It's been on about a minute and a half. No codes. And it's putting out air. Much